Yo, how's it going, everybody? So today we have another interview by Naoki Hamaguchi, and it looks like this one's for Nintendo Life on bringing the Final Fantasy Remake trilogy to the Switch 2. And if you don't know who Naoki Hamaguchi is, he is the director for Final Fantasy 7 Remake project. So let's see what he has to say. I know there's a question that he answered, and I guess the way he answered it, people on Twitter did not like his answer. So that's kind of what I want to like discuss today, and what I want to go over today. So let's see what he said, and I'll give you my 2 cents. So let's dive right in. The original Final Fantasy is available on the Switch. Would you recommend newcomers try this out first before moving on to Remake, or would you prefer the opposite? And this was Hamaguchi's response. In a lot of ways, that's a difficult question to answer. A lot of people say to me that if they could go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII with no knowledge of the story and enjoy it for the first time, there'd be nothing better than that. The remake is designed to be enjoyed by people who have played the original and know it well, and also by complete newcomers who know nothing about it. So either way is fine, you'll enjoy the game and have a similar experience whether you've played the original or not. If you have the opportunity, I'd like you to play the remake first and enjoy it as a fresh experience on its own. There are definitely nods in there, so if you've played the original before, you can see how we've reworked things, and that's a completely legitimate way of playing. But if you've not played it before, I'd kind of like you to experience the remake first with the new graphics and presentations and have that be your first impression of the game. Okay, so very interesting. I understand where he's coming from. You know, he wants newcomers to experience the game fully without any knowledge of the OG, and he wants the OG heads to also be able to play the game and have a good time. But I don't think saying that you'll enjoy the game and have a similar experience whether you've played the original or not is like a good stance, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because the original game, if you've played it and then you've played Remake, your experience for Remake is going to be very different. Yes, at the end we all probably have questions like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? Like, you know, whether you've played the OG or not, you're going to have that question at the end of Remake. That's just how it is. And even at the end of Rebirth. But if you've played Remake, if you've played the OG and then you go on to play Remake, you're gonna have a lot of context to things. Even if you've played Crisis Core and then you play the Remake and Rebirth, you're gonna have a lot of context to events, to characters, to just like the areas and the environments. You're gonna know a lot of things like ahead of time, and I don't know if that's what they're saying. They don't want players to have like a pre-judgmental mindset coming into the game. Now, I don't know why they would want that or not. Like, what does it matter if someone played the original or not? What does it matter if like I played Remake and then I'm like, well, I want to know more about the story, so I'm gonna go finish Final Fantasy VII OG and then come back. I don't completely understand, you know, what the issue would be. There weren't a lot of differences between the original game and then Remake, Rebirth, and whatever the third installment's going to be. Now, this brings up the question, is this still like a remake of the original game, or is this a sequel to the original game? Because the way I see it is, if this is a remake of the original game, then I can see why they don't want people to play the original game. There's a lot of things that'll get spoiled. There's a lot of like characters and, you know, like the new environments we're going to be visiting in part 3 and stuff. Those are going to get spoiled. But also, if this is a sequel to the original game, then wouldn't you want people to have some kind of context before going into this game? And the reason why I say this is because when we did play Remake in the beginning, we had the whispers, there's the time stuff, there's changing fate, and then in Rebirth, it seems like we're taking a backseat to all that and kind of just letting Final Fantasy VII play out the way the original played out. So that's why I feel like a lot of people are confused. I know I was definitely confused reading that statement. I was like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want people to play the OG, you want people to complete this first? Like, I get it, graphics and music and gameplay are different, and you know, some could argue it's better in this and some could argue it's better than that. So why would you want people to play the remake trilogy first before touching the original if the ending wasn't gonna be different, or if the ending was gonna be different? What does it matter? Like, why would they want you not to know about the story? I mean, the information's out there and people are gonna like look for it, so what does it matter if someone knows how the original ends? You know, they won't necessarily know how remake or rebirth, or sorry, not rebirth, they won't know how the trilogy ends. So those are just the things that kind of come into mind when I saw this statement. He's saying that there are definitely nods to the original, and you know, there are things that were reworked, and that's like, it's a completely legitimate way to play the new game. But also, it's like, okay, if there are nods and things are reworked, then there's obviously this game is different. So when people do end up playing this game, it'll be different for them. Or is that not what they're saying? Or are they saying that no, things are different, as in like gameplay and the towns you visit, but the original story beats are going to be the same? So what does that mean? Are we going to end up fighting Sephiroth in the end, and just the ending of the original is how like the remake trilogy is going to end? I mean, we don't know, and we won't find out until part 3 comes out. So it is kind of confusing. And yeah, it's just really crazy because people have played remake and it came out in what, 2021, I think, and now it's like 2025, so there have been a lot of time for people to say like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna play the OG, or I'm gonna play this, or I'm gonna do that. So why are they coming out with this statement now when it's so close to part 3? You know, it makes me wonder if the rest of part 3 is gonna be very similar to how the original game plays out, and if that's the case, then that kind of debunks the whole like, oh, this is a sequel to Final Fantasy VII OG, which was a theory that people came up with in the beginning with how the whispers were working and the whole like changing fate and changing, you know, time travel and all that. And so yeah, I just think like, you know, Square Enix trying to bake its cake and eat it too, it's just not really working out. I feel like if they were a little bit more straightforward with certain things, people would receive it a lot better. And you know, I'm not trying to hate on them, but like the way they went around like marketing this game, trying to play on people's like subverting expectations, playing on their nostalgia, was definitely not how I would have done it. I feel like by word of mouth, a lot of people told their friends like, hey, yeah, I don't know if you want to buy this because they don't have like the story together, or hey, I don't know if you want to buy this because it's not finished yet. Things like that. I wish they kind of would have cleared up ahead of time before doing whatever kind of marketing or interviews or whatever they're doing. But that's just my opinion, y'all. What do I know? But yeah, so I'm interested to know what you guys think. You know, do you think that Hamaguchi was right in telling people, hey, don't play the original yet, finish the remake trilogy first and then play the original? Or do you think, nah, he's tripping, like he can't tell people to play this or that, and he can't say that like, oh, the experience is, you know, if whether you have an understanding of the original is the same as, you know, or playing remake trilogy with that knowledge? What do you guys think? I want to know. I know one of the big things that came up for me was like Zack. You know, people who've played the original, people who played Crisis Core are in tune with the Final Fantasy VII material before Remake and Rebirth. They know who Zack is. They understand a lot of the references in these games, you know, like Deep Ground and stuff like that. So interesting, like I said, interesting that Hamaguchi would bring up that playing the remake trilogy gives you the same, like, it's similar, it's same experience as playing the original, or even having knowledge of like the original contents, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7 OG, because no, it's in my opinion, it's very different. If you played those other games and you have that knowledge, this game is very different. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments below, and I will catch you later. Peace out.